Hello, Mercedes Car Clubbers. It is Tuesday, November 27th. This is our second Zoom in our 5 minimum Zoom series. And I know that this is a crazy night to actually be doing this because we have 1 day left in the month. And I know tons of people have shows and all of you are probably still trying to close up orders and whatnot. I know I have like 20 million orders to figure out between flash sales and all kinds of stuff. So for those of you that are home tonight and coming onto this Zoom, I applaud you, and I'm glad you're on with me live. So last week we talked about a couple of different ways to share. Well, Tamika and Belinda both shared, their thoughts, and Tamika shared the mall versus the direct sales girl. So did anyone try that? I know that we wasn't much in the way of shows probably that took place since then because we had Thanksgiving in there. But Phyllis, did you actually do it? I saw you just raise your hand. You're muted. Okay, go ahead.
I did it on Sunday at my show, and it was pretty cute. People really did like it. I did it in spite of the fact that I kind of knew there was nobody in the room who was interested in doing it. So I just kind of practiced on them. I didn't think that I would get anybody to sign up, but I did get a booking because one lady told me, she said, "You were so good at that. You made such an effort. Nobody jumped. So I'll have a show for you." Okay, thank you. Sorry for me.
Hey, listen. The paycheck will be the same, and she'll forget, and nobody that's coming will know that, so that's good. I'm super proud of you for trying it out because I do feel like the longer you're in the business, it's harder to try new things. Mm-hmm. I know anytime where I watch a training and I'm like, I'm doing that at my next show. Unless I practice out loud and or give myself, no, it really has to be give myself some sort of cue into the spot of the show where I want it to go, it will not happen. Because the more shows you do, the more automated the words are. It's like your muscle memory is like your show memory. And I'll watch somebody just, show the jewelry and I'm like, I'm totally saying that the next time I show that necklace. And then the next time I show that necklace, I totally don't say it. Because I say what I always say about that necklace. So to really try to implement new things into your show definitely takes more effort if the longer you're here, I feel like. So if you've already done a whole lot of shows, never shy away from using things like cue cards. Even if you use the ones that come in a kit and you edit for yourself, and even if you're not even using some of them, remember that using props like that not only will legitimately help you, but remember that it shows everyone at the show that you are duplicatable, that this is a job that they don't have to memorize everything. Many of you know that prior to selling Park Lane, I was with the Pampered Chef. And the biggest objection that I got all the time was, oh my God, I could never do what you do. I could never think of the recipes, and I could never cook and talk at the same time. Now, frankly, most of them were right. They couldn't talk and cook at the same time. But that was something that looked very difficult to people. And we were constantly trying to convince people, like we were always like, make it look easy, which actually was work. It was work to make it look easy because it wasn't easy. Of course, it became easier like anything else, but it wasn't easy, so to speak, whereas our job actually is easy. And the only thing that I feel like the main objection that I get in terms of the actual job is that people will say, how do you remember all those jewelry names, right? I feel like that's pretty much the only like part of the job that people find intimidating, because God knows opening a tray or unrolling a roller of jewelry is not intimidating. Drinking other people's wine, putting it on people, none of this is intimidating. However, the fact that when they always say, what's this called? And we're like, unicorn, Sierra, lifestyle, we bang it out like it's nothing. And people are like, how could you possibly memorize that? So if you have like little cue cards in your trays or in your rollers that have names of jewelry on it, that sends a message of, you don't have to memorize everything. Oh, she has the names on those cards. I remember going to a Tastefully Simple party one time, and the girl had her pretty much entire presentation on a key ring. And I remember saying to myself, man, that's easy. This was when I was still selling Paper Chef. I was like, man, that's easy. She gets to just do this little rotation off of a ring thing, and she's done? Unbelievable. But that's how she made her job look easy, because actually she had to bake 22,000 things before the show even happened. At least I got to do it at the show. She was baking all day when she had a show. But I only noticed that because I was also in direct sales. So that's, things that we can do to make our job look easy are really just demonstrating what is easy about our job. And that is to not be making multiple trips into somebody's house, which there is absolutely no need for. One bag of jewelry, one bag of paperwork should be it, right? And if it's not, you definitely need to reevaluate how you're carrying your things or what you're bringing. Not being frazzled, even if you really are frazzled, is a huge thing, because when people see somebody walking in, flying in, sweating, clearly stressed out, whatever, already they're like, oh, poor thing. And we never, ever want to be poor thing. Poor thing is communicated by being frazzled when you walk in, standing behind a table before the show is starting, and not really engaging until the show starts, and not using a commanding voice when doing the show. So if your voice still sounds like, my name is Michelle, and this is Park Lane Jewelry. So we have a great sale. Okay, this sounds like, I know you're tortured, but this is my job, and I really hope you buy something, or I'm going to be really sad. And nobody is booking a show. Nobody is signing up with poor thing. So please make sure that you are not poor thing. Even if you are late, okay, you can say, thank you so much for waiting for me. Wow, was there some unexpected traffic? Okay, so stay in control, but you're being, you're thanking them for their time, as opposed to, oh my God, I'm so sorry. There was so much traffic. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, get out of the way. Again, that is poor thing, right? Thank you so much for waiting, everybody. I know your time is valuable. And yes, it was a bit of a tough trip, but we are going to have some fun. Just give me 2 minutes, right? Then people are like, okay, good. She's cool and it's going to be fine. And I don't mind that I waited. It can be, your whole voice needs to be one of authority the whole time, even if you're brand new, even if you're new to Park Lane but not new to direct sales, even if you feel like everybody in the world knows more about jewelry than you know more than pretty much most of the guests that are sitting there. So if you know the tip about having, long necklaces make you look taller and thinner, that the wrist is the thinnest part of your body, and therefore bringing attention to the wrist brings attention away from elsewhere. Crystals next to your face make your face light up and look younger. These are all things that make people see you as an authority and as somebody that they don't only want to learn from and party with, but that they would like to work with. So command of the room and command of any situation within a room is a big part of your booking and recruiting success, in my opinion. When you have that group that there's the unruly people, if they're not distracting the people that are listening, then don't worry about it. If they don't listen, they don't listen. Probably they're not going to get the best deal on the jewelry, but you may make more money because of that. So, oh well, Karen, you couldn't behave yourself. All right. But if they are creating a situation where the other people in the room are annoyed, then that's your next model, right? So she's going to be brought on up or just approach them. These are old school teacher methods. Okay, when somebody is talking in the far side of the room, and it's not something that's helping you, because sometimes it's like, all right, she's actually talking about the necklace to the 3 people around her. I'm just going to give it a second and let her finish, because I don't need to be super control freak lady. However, when it's when it's causing an issue with finishing the show or just kind of getting through what you want to finish, then just involve her. If she wants to talk, no problem. Let her be your sidekick. Think about when you watch anything on QVC or anything like that, right? There's never one person selling, is there? It is the person selling and the sidekick. So your sidekick can be your hostess, but it can also just be that loudmouth that can't control herself. Bring the loudmouth up front and put her to work. Make her useful, right? And have her model the jewelry and have her choose who's going to be the next person to put a necklace on. That makes everybody pay attention because they were listening to her anyway. And if she's the one saying that looks really nice on you, that's going to carry more weight than if you say it anyway. So other times I just, walk slowly. You know how at convention, I know all of you guys are convention attendees. Remember how when I talked about the unicorn necklace in the one presentation at convention, and I said, handle it slowly, build how much they love about the glitteriness and how long it is, and you can make it. I usually do that while approaching somebody disruptive, so that eventually they turn and see and then put it on. Now, maybe these disruptive things don't happen as much in the 49 nicer states of people than New York, and I know it's worse here. I totally know it's worse because I do shows in Connecticut and I go to DC and all these other places, and people have far better manners. But we all still have them. And what I interpret as far as people, being distracting may even be, like, I've done shows out of state where people are like, I can't even believe how much people were talking. And I was like, people were talking? Because it's so normal at shows that I typically do. So anyway, and that always goes into my other strong theory about having a pleasant show experience with people, which is kind of 2 parts. One is that we aren't the teacher. We never are shushing people. And if they really are that much of an interruptee, I just want to handle the jewelry, try things on, and be on with it, then that's what we're going to do. Because if that's what they consider to be fun, then we're getting on board with that. Because if you force people that want to be super handsy and super talky into being super not talky and wanting them to be quiet, no one's booking. Because you're not their brand of fun. And I'm willing to be whatever brand of fun the people in the room find fun. So I've had people where you could tell nobody wants to come up and model. So in that case, I might just show the unicorn by walking up to one of those people and just kind of draping it in front of one person and holding it there for a second and say, wouldn't this look nice with this top? And then walk away with it. Because they don't want to necessarily put it on. I'll use myself a little more because I don't want to force people that feel a little more reserved into like parading around. Whereas when I went down to Phyllis's group, I mean, people, they must want modeling contracts. I don't know what's going on, but everybody wants to be first. They want to talk the longest. They want to see how fast they can throw their hip out. And that's what we're going to do. So if the show is a little longer with groups like that, because everybody needs a turn, then everybody's having a turn. The turn might be a little shorter. The turn might have less words on my part because I need to fit more people in. But I don't want to send away a group of 12 that 10 people got to model and 2 are like so upset that they didn't, So these are all what I almost categorize into like be what they are. So when you're with a loud, rowdy group, dial it up. And when you're with a more conservative group, dial it down. If you find that most of your shows are the same, then this little section may not have applied to you as much, because I have had people say, well, really all my shows are the same. Well, I don't have the same here. I have very different show to show to show. So if that's what you have as well, then hopefully that advice will help. So who is your number one recruit potential typically in the room?
The host.
That is correct. Another gold star for Jeff. So yes, your host is your number one potential recruit. And it's for many reasons, right? We know that she loves the jewelry. We know that she buys into the system, right? Meaning that she understands if I bring my friends over, I get more. So all we have to show her is part 3, which is, and if you're the one standing at the front, you make the money. So that's really one of our biggest jobs and our best opportunity to add to our team. So how many of you that are here on the screen, and you can just kind of raise your hand since a lot of you are on mute, how many of you hosted a show prior to deciding to join, whether it was this company or another company? Okay, so that is quite a few. And some of you may not have, because you either already knew the deal. I know, Jen, you didn't raise your hand, but your mom is in direct sales, so you kind of know how direct sales work. And, you know, there's a reason why those reasons are the reasons why so many hostesses do end up joining, but they only join when we do our job of selling the dream enough. So right away when we're giving our hostess packet, I always add a opportunity brochure to a hostess packet. So one thing that I would ask you right up front is to really expand your thought process of our host plan. I know this year it just says style rewards on it, but remember when it was called the 5-star brochure? I've been like appealing for really to be the 6-star program, or, you know, there really are 6 sections to our hostess benefits, not 5. Because the biggest benefit to hosting a show is using that show to launch your business. And you may be doing a good job of that yourself, but are you teaching your team members to really put that as part of their mindset of what they are sharing with their hostess? Because even if you are, they may not be. And it's super important that we do it with every hostess, because when that hostess becomes our team member, they will have been through the process. So when, like I said, I recommend that you put a a business opportunity brochure in all of your hostess packets, so that when you go over the host packet, when they book at a show, assuming they're booking at a show, and I hope that you guys all do this too, do a quick hostess coach right there at the show when someone books at a show. You know, absolutely going over the 5-star brochure, letting them know what they get, all of that. Because in this day and age, people do not answer the phone like they used to. And this may be your only opportunity to talk to her before the show. Everything else is very likely to be Facebook chat. You know, and I'm not saying you shouldn't try, but the reality is the next time you say words from your mouth to her might be when you're standing in her living room. So it is very important that we go over the hostess brochure while she's still excited and before the wine wears off, right? Because she's booking with you while she's still probably modeling a necklace. She's had a couple of drinks. She ate a bunch of nachos. She's feeling so great. She just saved $200, laughed for their friends, thinks you're the greatest thing. If you wait too long to go over that all again, all of those things, you know, when I say the wine wears off, because, you know, sometimes people leave their show and they get home and found there's their husband. Mikey's been throwing up since you left. And then, you know, it's like, fun night over. So you have to have her really psyched about that party so that even if she walks home to a house full of vomit, she's still holding that party because she remembers what's worth it to her. So when going over that hostess packet, I will reference the business opportunity brochure. The ones that say success looks gorgeous on you, no longer, we don't have those anymore. So, but if you have them, there's nothing wrong with them. Finish using them up. Now there's a shorter business opportunity brochure, which is, I think, better than that one actually. So I ran out of those and I switched into these, but whatever you have, the main point is so that you're able to say, now, Phyllis, one of the things you're entitled to as a hostess is to start your business by using this party. You would be entitled to the paycheck, all of the bookings, and everything that goes along with it, along with an additional shopping spree for a kit. So I don't know if that's something you're thinking about at all, but there is a brochure in here that you could think about it. You can leave it at that, because sometimes when you, as soon as you say, you know, you're entitled to use your show to start a business, some of their faces start immediately contorting, where they're like, oh, no, I'm just having a party, and I'm not signing up. And that's when I say, oh, no. Yes, absolutely. I'm just letting you know what you're entitled to. We can totally talk about it later, or we can never talk about it again. It's no problem. Of course, we're talking about it again, but I don't want her to freak out. Okay, so other times they go like, you'll get that tiny facial where they're like, you see a little eyebrow action, you see a little tilt of the head. Okay, that's when the ones where you're like, you know, so the next time we talk, I would love to answer any questions that you have about that, because I would love to see you make some money that night. And they may go, okay, great. Again, that's all. Because if anybody else who's thinking about booking a show sees any kind of verbal assault happening where you get all excited, you know, or especially from the person that takes the next step and says, oh, that actually, yeah, I would like to talk to you about that. And if you're like, oh my, that would be amazing, because then you know what? You're going to get the whole paycheck, and then you'd be on my team. I'm going to add you to our Facebook group. We're going to go on vacation. We're going to go to Vegas. We're going to sleep together. Now they're like, oh my God, never mind. And the person behind them online is like, I'm not saying a damn word. She's going to assault me next. She's going to try to make me sleep with her. And now you're losing leads. Okay? So keep it to a minimum, because there's plenty of opportunity moving forward. Even if it's on Facebook Messenger or you're texting and then you're saying, so, hey, did you end up looking at that business opportunity brochure that's in there? Because as I mentioned, it is possible for you to get the paycheck that night. And then see what kind of response you get. They may say, you know what, I would like to hear about that actually. Hey, do you have a minute right now? Because if they're answering you on text, there's a chance they can talk, right? If she may be like, no, I'm at work, I'm texting, but can you call me at 6:30? Yeah, no problem. And then call her up and explain a little bit more about that. Maybe the next step at that point is to put them in the Check Us Out Facebook group, right? So that they can see all of the stuff we have going on there, so that they can be on the next live Q&A that is going on, or they can scroll the page, or you can tag them in the most recent one. Jen did one, Jennifer Bond did one last week. I did one 2 weeks before that. So if they don't want to wait, they can, you know, browse that. We've been giving away jewelry in that group, all kinds of fun stuff going on. So that's a great thing to add them to. So that you can do the grand finale business presentation with them at the end of the night. And that is, of course, to do, and anybody who's on my team, I'm so sorry that you're going to hear this again, because I'm so annoying about this to my personal team. The hostess order form. These come in hostess packets, okay? So you can leave it in there, or if you buy the stuff separate and just put together your own hostess packets, just make sure I have a bunch of these shoved in the back of my planner so that at the end of a show, I just pull it out. So at the end of a show, I always do the hostess order on the spot. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not allowing her to continue to collect orders, But it does mean that I'm leaving there with her credit card number, with an overall overview of what she wants. And either I do it what she has, and then I let her know. And if you get, another order, let's say she's at 5 orders, I might say, this is just your hostess benefits based on this. If you get 2 more orders, you're actually going to be able to tell me another $40 worth of jewelry that you want. Or if she has half price items, I can, put it into the free. If she's at 8, I figure it out based on 10. Or even if she's at 7. Because then I'll show her, listen, you're going to get $240 if I do it this way. But with 3 more orders, and I don't care if it's a pair of Whisper earrings, you jump into like $500. So let's figure it out at $500, because I'm quite sure 3 people that either cancels on you or you could wrestle an order out of or do what you got to do. So then they always go, oh, definitely. So then I base it on that. Okay. So we do the whole hostess order. This, of course, also makes your life way more delightful when Wednesday comes. Because if she doesn't get any more orders, you had the base model, right? Or if she, I just don't appreciate going back and forth. Also, I don't want to take their host order on the phone, because if there's a mistake, no, I said I wanted blah, blah, blah. I don't want any of this I said. I want to look at a list that she sent me, because I had somebody say, what are these Electrify? I'm like, the 3rd item on your list? Like, she totally didn't realize that she doesn't know why she ordered them, whatever, but at least I knew it wasn't my mistake. I'm happy to make it right. I don't care whose mistake it is. I just like to put my head on my pillow at night knowing that I ordered the right thing. Or if I made a mistake, of course, I'm going to correct it. But anyway, I don't have to worry about getting a credit card. I don't have to worry about chasing her around. If she ends up, running late on Wednesday, blah, 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 I can keep control of my own business, and this show can go in when it's supposed to go in. However, after doing her whole order, and just like with a guest where I say, some of you may have not heard this part, but I always do, Lisa, great news. You saved $320 and your total came to $220.62. Isn't that amazing? That's what I say to all the customers, a version of that. Always lead with, oh my gosh, you saved whatever it was, and then your total is this, because they always have spent more than they thought they were going to coming into the party, right? Even though they saved a ton of money, nobody comes to a Park Lane party thinking they're spending $250, but yet a lot of them do. So times that by 10 to your hostess, right? Because she thinks she books, she was getting everything free, forgetting about sales tax, $19 awards, hostess only. The Boss Babe watch she wanted was $82, and they conveniently forget that. So when you do a hostess order, first I like to, and this is why I love to do it manually like this, because it says value and whatever. So I add up each column, and whatever the value of the Boss Babe watch is, I factor that in. I don't put it in that she got something at 82. That's 300 something. So that then when I say, oh my gosh, Lisa, you just picked out $1,100 worth of jewelry, and your total came to $319.65. Isn't that amazing? So that they're like, oh my, so they get all excited. They may still change it after that point, but that's how I do it. So now we go on to say, now that's not the only amazing news, because I do just want to share with you that you can still be paid on tonight if that is something that you would like. Remember how I talked about that you can use your business, your show to start your business? So tonight you had, blah, 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 right? So you got your $19 thank you award. You got your X amount of credit, all of this stuff. And then you also had 3 of your friends book shows, which is how you got that ring. So with the sales of the party here, you're at $1,100. You can potentially get a paycheck for $300 and what would that be? Like $350 or something for a brand new person. You can take a paycheck for $350, and then for $229, you could tell me right now another $1,000 worth of jewelry that you want, and we're going to make up a starter kit for you. So for $0 more, essentially, you can pick out $1,000 more in jewelry. You'll have a little bit of overage from your paycheck from paying for that. And then when we do Myrna's party, you're actually going to get the paycheck on that too. And the same thing for Deb's and the same thing for Susan's. What do you think? Very often they go for it. They may say, oh my gosh, but, and then they may have a series of questions. What if I hate it? Well, then at least you'll know you hate it, right? You're going to have all of the jewelry. You're going to have all of the money you made. You'll probably earn some more jewelry and some incentives. And if at that point you hate it, then you're going to say, Michelle, this was nice and all, but I don't know what I was thinking. Thank you, though. And then you're going to keep all that stuff, and then I'll just continue on with the rest of the parties. No problem. There's no Park Lane police taking back your stuff. Everything that you purchase is yours. And in this case, the paycheck from this show is already paying for your kit. So you're more than welcome to use that if that is something that you would like to do. I'm a big fan of letting the hostesses know what they're entitled to. You're entitled to use the paycheck from this party to start you in the business. Did you know that? Now, here's why you do it, even when they say, no, or whatever. Because when you said the day they booked the party, when you said to them, you can use the paycheck to pay for a kit and your friend's bookings will be yours, she said to herself, well, I don't know how much your paycheck's going to be, and I don't think my friends are booking a party. That's what she said in her head. But now the reality is there is a $350 paycheck on the table, and there are 2 or 3 friends that are planning on having shows. So her answer may be a whole lot different than the contorted eyebrow that you looked at 3 weeks ago. So if this is a skill you already have, then your biggest job next is to teach this to your team, that it gets done every time. To go to a show with one of your team members and at the end of the night, sit and do this with her hostess so that she can see how it's done and see that it's very easy to do if you simply remember to bring this with you. And like I said, it comes in the hostess packets that come in their kits. Everybody has these. You can print them out on the downloads as well. And just so that you know, me going over how to do this is one of the videos that's in the Team Sparkle training document that's pinned to the top of the exec page and should now be all the team pages. So how to recruit your host. The only thing is that the math will say the wrong, like the kit is not going to say $229 because I made that video when the kit I think was still $179. So just be aware of that. But the whole process of how to go over it is still 100% fine. I do need to make a new one with the right prices on it, but for training purposes, it should still be okay. So does anyone have a question or a comment or an additional suggestion on any of the topics that we just spoke about or in recruiting your hostess specifically? I also see there's a chat thing here. Oh, so Jen, I think I answered that question. If you're using the Hello Gorgeous. Yeah. And like I said, if you still have that form, that brochure, by all means use it. But I did move on to using the ones that say business opportunity or something on the front. It's a little more edgy looking too. I know that you are, in this particular participants tonight, you guys are pretty much all upper level leaders. So is there anything that was either new to you or will be new to your team when you turn it around to them? Or did you all just say to yourself, oh, Michelle's just went over everything I already knew. I should have watched This Is Us.
I love the making the loudmouth person your sidekick. Yeah. I love that idea. That was a great one. Just a reminder to include those people because they can be unruly and a little bit obnoxious too. Mm-hmm. When you just include them and make them, the highlight, which they already are, but just kind of give them boundaries in that, then that's a good reminder.
Yeah. And depending on your personality and theirs, you can have a lot of fun with those people. You know, where it's like, now this would look great on everybody except Susan. She's not wearing it. Like if somebody says I would never wear that, then I go with that for the whole rest of the night.
Totally.
So Lisa, this will look good on you, not you, Susan. We know you're not wearing it. You're not allowed.
Yeah.
And then continue on, you know, so like whatever you have to do, because those people tend to play with you like that, and it makes it funny.
Yeah, I thought that was good too. That was takeaway from this one. I actually the show I had was a huge show from a previously show on Sunday, and so the hostess was the first person who did the show 3 or 4 shows ago. So she was just talking to everybody while I was talking. But I remembered and watched you when you were here with us. And the thing you said, there were people who were still paying attention to me. So I had to just make sure I focused my effort on those people who were still paying attention. Because I wanted to say, Pauline, you know, but I didn't. And I did ask her at some point. I said, Pauline's been to so many shows, she could probably tell you this part. So I did say that. And
smart.
Yeah, and she got right involved in that. So that was really good. I was glad to hear you talk about that.
Good.
And you know, it's always good for me to hear this stuff over and over, because sometimes when I'm doing shows every 2 or 3 days apart, there's stuff I leave out because I've just been doing it so much. I think everybody's already heard all of this. So yeah, it's really good to hear this from you in a setting like this for me.
Good.
So, thank you.
I'm glad. Yeah, Pauline needs to be sharing how much free she got. Pauline needs to be saying all of that stuff. That's where you like, you know, and you get it, $500 shopping spree, right, Pauline?
Right.
And now Pauline's like, wait, what? You got a $500 shopping spree, right? Oh, yes, I did. And then, you know, you can invite more than whatever, right, Pauline? So that can just be fun too. So, all right, so then let's make this week's action steps to make sure that you personally have these in your planner and that you make a note to yourself. Way to go, Jeff. That's another star for you. You make sure that these are in your bag, and you make sure that you're going to talk to some people on your team this week and find out when their shows are, and do they have these ready to go? And have they ever done this with a hostess? And if they say no, you can either take the liberty of explaining it, or you can say, I'm going to send you a YouTube video of Michelle Zito explaining how to use this. Let me know as soon as you watch it. Can you watch that by the end of today? Because otherwise people just watch it whenever and they think you'll forget. So can you watch that by the end of today? Because I would love to talk to you about it. I just had the same training and I'm super excited about it. Over-exaggerated. You know, I just had the same training and I want to make sure you hear it. And then if she says, oh, I don't have those, I think you do. They should be in your hostess packets. Take a look. And if she says, no, they're not in there, I used them, I threw them out, I didn't know what they were, then you tell them, okay, we're going to go on the downloads and we're going to find them for you. Let's practice doing this together, because I want to make sure I do it too. When you put yourself as their equal, they'll be a lot more willing to try it out. So if you say, let's practice this together, because I used to do it and I kind of forgot, whatever it is. Or you can say, as you know, this is something I really do a lot. It helps me recruit my host. And I know you told me you want to be a branch. You want to eat the lobster tail at convention. So let me make sure I've taught you properly how to do this. So see how many team members that you can reach out to and really take some one-on-one time to make sure that they have that skill. And then comment on this group page who you worked with, what some of the results are, whether you do it with your own hostess, and also who on your team you're working with, because that's a satisfying thing. When you teach somebody a specific skill, they try it and it works. You know, so when you go over this with a team member and she calls you or he calls you and says, oh my gosh, I did it, and she wants to join, you are going to be so excited and feel so accomplished as a leader, and it puts you one step closer to your Mercedes. So I will see you all next Tuesday, except for all of our fun interaction on the page in between, which I totally enjoy. And have a great rest of your night. And a good month end tomorrow. Bye.